My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now.
Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramerica. Other people want to make friends. I'm just trying to make you some money. My job, not just to entertain you, but to educate, teach you. So call me at 1-800-743-CNBC or tweet me at Jim Cramer. Let's call it the Great American Snag. Yeah, the snag. It's that moment where we realize that we're not going to have a Roaring '20s style boom because a third of the country refuses to get vaccinated, and their intransigence is snagging the whole darn economy. Despite a sedate day for the average, Dow inching up 25 points, S&P advancing 0.20%, NASDAQ gaining 0.36%. A good show given the strong gains from yesterday and the day before. We are seeing some classic signs of worry about the durability of this recovery. If you go back to a little over a year ago, it felt like we were on the eve of a second Great Depression, as most companies connected to travel and leisure and retail were forced to shut down. Now, we've never seen anything like that in living memory. At the time, everybody believed that there was no quick fix. The experts said it could take years to develop an effective vaccine before COVID. The fastest vaccine ever created still took 4 years, and that was against something called the mumps that I actually had. So the government poured money into the economy to keep the consumers and the companies on life support until we found a solution. The goal was to keep the lights on, that's all, while making it possible for people to stay home and avoid infecting each other. Practically overnight, we abandoned central offices, built new homes away from the cities, outfitted these homes with equipment for work and entertainment from Netflix to video games, and then we hunkered down by stocking our pantries. We settled down to quiet lives with outdoor activities. That was our savior, right? Campers, boats, barbecues. Then, boom! Late last fall, Moderna and Pfizer came along and solved the problem. It would have been great if they came up with vaccines that were, say, 50% effective, like the annual flu shot. Instead, they were both borderline miraculous, 94 to 95% efficacy. More like the polio vaccine, where President Eisenhower practically wiped out that once dreaded disease. Of course, those were very different times. Eisenhower ordered us to get vaccinated, and we lined up at high schools all over the country. We considered it, yes, our patriotic duty. Also, our not being an idiot duty, because who the heck wanted to get polio? Even with the vaccines, our government was desperate not to repeat the mistakes of the Great Recession, where the stimulus was way too small, economy stagnated for years. This time we spent trillions upon trillions of dollars to create jobs and also pay people to stay home, generous unemployment benefits. We're simultaneously paying you to work and to avoid COVID-infested workplaces. Which brings me to the Great American Snag. Most businesses have doctors. Their doctors tell them to get the vaccine. The government tries to entice you to take it, too. But what was once begged for now goes begging. Millions of vaccine doses are on the verge of being thrown away because a large swath of the country wants to live free or die, perhaps from COVID. Now cases are surging again. It's taking a toll on the economy. How does the snag manifest itself? Well, first, the people who buy risk-free treasuries, the Treasury bonds, they're now in overdrive because they're convinced we're on the verge of another lockdown. They see the mask coming back. There's uncertainty over what was certain, a fundamental belief that the vast majority of people want to avoid getting COVID. That's now out the window. And just like that, the nation is beleaguered and beaten again. I'm convinced these worries about the Delta variant are what's driving long-term interest rates to such ludicrously low levels. At these levels, it's impossible for banks to bank as much money as we thought, right? I mean, they can't. They can't even make the money that they said they were going to make a week ago. We're back to a market where the financial technology players, think PayPal or Square, go relentlessly higher while the banks languish. There are a lot more traditional deposit institutions than non-bank financials, so they're like a lead weight tying down these markets. We know that the travel and leisure industries are doing just fine. I mean, we just got good numbers from Southwest Air. I spoke to Gary Kelly this morning. American, United, both good. But the traders, they don't trust this bullishness. They aren't waiting for Delta, the airline, to beat numbers. They're waiting for Delta, the COVID variant, to beat us. Meanwhile, we still got the semiconductor shortages galore because most of the world's chip-making capacity is in Southeast Asia, and the whole region's being jarred by COVID. China's slowing, too, because their government insisted on using inferior homegrown vaccines. I think these issues are transitory, but they're enough to take down the automakers that desperately need the semis and the semi shortage to be over. So we're out of cars, an important engine of the economy. Hey, by the way, we're out of homes, at least starter homes. Can't build them fast enough for people to move in. High quality problem, but a problem nonetheless because housing punches above its weight in the economy. It gets worse. The fears of a Delta Force slowdown has made Wall Street deaf to all sorts of good news. Dow Chemical reports what may have been the best quarter in the history of Dow. Unbelievable amount of money. But when CEO Jim Fitterling talked to me about how the business is much better than previously thought, well, he's ignored. Stock gets clubbed. Then a funny thing happens. Treasury yields tank, so Dow's 4.6% dividend, it looks much more enticing than Treasuries. And that, not the unbelievable earnings, but that is what stabilizes the stock. Plus, we're seeing price increases galore because we thought demand would remain strong. Now we're not so sure. In the Delta slowdown scenario, prices could come down from demand destruction, and estimates could be too high. People think that Dow's estimates are too high. Now, here's the good news. I'm not going to give you bad news. I'm going to tell you what, tell it to you straight here. The great American snag can end. I didn't say will, can. The people who refuse to get vaccinated are still willing to go out, so the snag might not be as bad as the bears expect. Sure, it's like they're a fifth column that's deliberately trying to spread the virus. But if they took COVID seriously, they'd get the darn vaccine. More importantly, the snag will inevitably be rectified in one of two ways. The good way. The unvaccinated get freaked out by this latest outbreak, see the surging case count and the rising death toll, so they get their shots. Or the bad way. The unvaccinated get COVID, and those who survive will have antibodies that make it much harder for them to get infected again. Given the incredibly contagious nature of the Delta variant, the bad way could happen a lot sooner than anyone might expect. Next thing you know, we get unsnagged. Bond prices sell off. The banks can rally again. The home builders catch up. Inflation cools down. Supply chain blockages get cleared. Plus, we've got these fabulous tax credit, children's tax credit. They're breathing a lot of life into back-to-school retail. So don't let all these worries freak you out. We saw what the snag can do during the three-day sell-off that ended with a bang on Monday. But I think it won't be long until we realize the market was unwilling to give up the ghost because this was the snag that refreshed, even as it scared the heck out of us. So let me give you the bottom line. All the people who refuse to get vaccinated, they're a major problem for our country. But I'm betting they won't do that much damage to the stock market. Either the Delta outbreak causes them to get religion and take their medicine, or they get infected. Now, I'd much rather the former than the latter. But either way, we're one step closer to the fabled herd immunity.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.